going on, flock? Just kidding. What's up, sleep flockers? All right, that's my last one. What's going on, everyone? It's Cecil, or Ciso, from SLEEPTALKER. As you know, I play guitars in the band if you've seen any of the Goosem.jpg photos, but I also handle a lot of our live stuff. And right next to me is a big piece of that. It's our in-ear monitor rig. What a monitor is, it's so we can hear ourselves, and we play to the computer playing the backtrack so we can stay in time with each other, because we have a lot of changes happening and they need to all happen at the same time every time. That includes our guitars, bass, and our light show. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but starting from the bottom, we have what's called a seismic audio XLR and TRS splitter. Basically, that allows us to plug in, take my guitar, for example, it sends that signal to our in-ear monitor rig where we can handle it, and also sends it to the front of house so they have a copy without us touching it. Moving on from that into our in-ear monitor rig, that's the Behringer X32, pretty commonplace, everyone has one. If you don't, I mean, I don't know what else you're gonna use besides anything that's like it. And from this, I can send individual mixes to each member. It's actually stereo, so we get to pan things left and right. For example, I have my click or metronome in my left ear because that's what I like. Jamar likes to have his in the center, so I leave his alone in the center, and we're able to adjust things on the fly as we want, turn them up, turn them down, etc., without affecting anyone else's mix. From there, we have a very broken Pro VLA compressor. The idea behind that is we wanted to be able to control Jamar's vocals before they hit front of house, so we can set the levels. Something we've learned along the way is not every sound guy is the same, so he doesn't care about maybe compressing a vocal, and with a vocalist that changes his dynamics often from screaming, singing, falsetto, head voice, all of that good stuff. You're gonna want it to be pretty consistent, and this compressor allows us to kind of color it beforehand. Above that is my Helix. I'm just using that for the time being. I'll probably switch to something else in the future, but it does all the things that any guitar processor does these days. I'm able to send MIDI patch changes from the computer, which we'll get to later. But I have multiple outs. One of those is going to front of house with a cab emulation. And the other one is going to this Crown power amp, and that's going to a cab on stage. The reason we do that is the bigger venues we play at, it allows us to have some stage volume, so that if you're standing in the front, you're not behind the PA, so you can actually hear a little bit of something. It also brings a little bit of vibe. And below that, probably more importantly than everything, is our Goose Juice. That is our power conditioner, and it's got two nice little dimmers so we can see in the dark, especially when this blue light from the Crown is peering through. It allows us to see the definition and everything. And then on top of that, we have a wireless mic unit. This is for Jamar, so he can run around and look silly on stage and pretend that he's cool. And then sitting on top of all of that is probably what we call the second brain. It's the computer. It's running Cubase right now, or Reaper, depending on when you watch this. And this has a click track to keep us in time. This also has any guitar parts that I can't play at the same time because I'm only one person. That's going to our ears. We also have backup vocals. We have any drops or synths, all the cool stuff you hear in the song that we can't do live because we don't have a person to actually play it. We're doing that here, and those are going out from there into the mixer and then into our ears. Another thing I want to mention is I'm using the X32 actually as our interface, which is not as common, you know, at least from people's setups, but that's just what I have right now. In the future, that may change, but that's what we got. We are sponsored by Unhealthy While Unhinged, Coma Waves, and Zounds, and Pepsi.